done and accomplished here and the impact that you've made on so many people. And when Jennifer let me know that this is something that you were, interested in doing, if we were, I was just, you know, it was a special moment. So I really, really appreciate you taking an hour out of your very busy day to be here with us. And I'm just very excited to be able to learn from you. But more honestly, more importantly than that, I'm excited for my team that's here to be able to learn from you. Um, so with that, Danny, I kind of hand it over to you, and then we can kind of get into a little bit of the conversation. But thank you.
Hey, it's me and you now. Don't be handing it over to me, okay? It's me and you. Nobody else here but me and you. So you ask
Don't
what you
don't don't
want.
go and say that now, Danny, because I'm known to talk, unfortunately. So I got to kind of put a
Hey,
muffle
that's
on.
okay. There may not be enough air in the room for both of us, but we'll do the best we can till one of us passes out. Uh, no, I appreciate the invitation. Jennifer and I talk about every week, and uh, whenever somebody special shows up, we pay more attention to those people because they identify themselves, and you showed up as that. Okay, so I've been wanting to meet you for a long time, but way before conference, and but this is what we do. This is a at its this is a transfer of information business. There are things that I had to learn when I came here. I've been in the insurance business now 41 years, and I've never been in the traditional industry, okay, where you're just an agent and you go out and you sell insurance. Okay, I'd throw up before I do that. I've been in the building part of insurance industry. I built it three different places, but there's no place like this place. I'm just telling you, there's what we have to offer people is just incredible, and we have an unlimited number of people to offer it to. So, whenever I get a chance to talk to somebody that's got the ability that you have, I'm going to do that. So this is my pleasure. So you asked me to look at your team. You know what your team needs. You asked me a question, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. Some of y'all will
Yep.
like it. Some of y'all might not like it as much, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think you and I are, from that perspective, cut from a similar cloth because I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I think I made that really clear to everyone who's on this call when I was originally talking to them about what this opportunity is. So, I mean, listen, a lot of the people on this call, like this team, it's very, very exciting right now because you go look at the numbers, and it's not like we've got a whole bunch of writers and everything going right now, right? But it's because we have this big mass of people that are
Yeah.
all right on the cusp, right? Just like right
Yeah.
on the precipice. They're doing the right things, they're showing up, they're learning, they're getting through pre-licensing, they're getting their leads, they're getting on the phones, they're doing the things that they need to do. So I have so much just confidence and belief in what this team is doing. So I think what a lot of folks really want to understand here is around, like, of course, like how do you get here and what separates people and all that. So I mean, I think the first thing is, I guess, Danny, what what do you think sets people apart here from the folks that come in and didn't really do much of anything versus the people who've built something lasting here, including yourself?
No, it's simple. This is really a simple business. But the difference between people who win and people that don't win is the fact that people that win want something more.
Mm.
People ask me all the time, if I'm talking about somebody coming here and working with us, and they'll say, well, how many people make it at Symmetry? Okay, well, everybody that wants to. It's all about want, because here's a law. Okay, you can't argue with a law, and this is right below the one that says thou shalt not kill. Okay, what you want determines what you do,
Mm.
100% of the time, and what you do determines what you get, 100% of the time. So if somebody comes here and they're not getting what they want to get, what they thought they'd get, what this other person's getting, it's not because they're not doing enough, it's because they don't want enough.
Can I ask a question on that?
Absolutely.
It's so interesting because the word want, I think, is an interesting word. So many people say they want things. Do you think
Mhm.
people are just lying to themselves about what they want? Because so many of the times, what they want
No,
and do
no,
doesn't compute.
it's two parts, okay? I want a head full of hair, okay? I'm not going to get that. All right, I'm not. But it doesn't keep me from wanting it. See, because if I lined up 100 people, 100 people are going to tell me that wherever they are in their life, whatever they have in their life, they want more. So that's that's part one. Part one's the easy part.
Mm.
Part two is the hard part. What we're looking for are people who are willing to put in the work to get what they want. Make sense? And that's the breakdown.
Where do you feel
And
like
so,
that like discrepancy happens? Like where that clicks for people?
well, if somebody goes from wanting something and willing to put into work versus somebody that wants something that doesn't put into work,
Yep.
it could be an event, it could be a person, it could be because I'm gonna tell you, we're in a business, Jeffrey, that your entire career could change on a dime. You could run into one person and say one thing to one person, and that one thing got that person to come take a look at this, got that person in the business, and that person becomes a superstar. It's ridiculous. I recruited one guy 19 years ago with another IMO, wasn't even with Symmetry, with another IMO, one guy. That guy lasted a year. Last year, 18 years later, 2024, that one guy that lasted a year was worth 24 million. He was responsible for 24 million of our 30 million last year. Matter of fact, y'all are all here because that one guy said yes, came here and worked. Now in his defense, he came here because he had a daughter down here in Catholic school. It was costing him $1,400 a month to send her to high school, and I think she graduated. And so but he was here just a year. But see, he came through my life long enough to bring me somebody who brought me somebody who brought me somebody who brought me somebody who brought me Ashley Tarr.
Right.
And then everything changed. Everything changed on one person. Because I think a lot of your people are new. They'll come here and they'll see somebody like Marshall Whalen. It looks like he's got 10,000 people. He doesn't. He's got about 700 agents write business every month. But they think they got to have 10,000 agents. You don't. How about you start with one?
Mm.
Because if you get one of the right kind of people, well, look, how many people you have on the call? See, it's not just you. See, and these are all your people. You get a chance here to multiply yourself through other people. Because you understand that most mom and pop stores, okay, that's owned by mom and pop run it. They're open 5 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. They work 10 hours a day, 15 hours a day, whatever. And they do that until they can't. And they say, "Okay, kids, we want y'all to take over the store." And the kids say, "Are you kidding me? We don't. No, I don't want that life at all." And so it closes. This is mom and pop thing because everything depends on mom and pop. See, my success here does not is not predicated on how good I am. My success here is predicated on how many successful people I can help produce.
Mm.
So that's what you're in. You're in the life-changing business. Okay, you don't know it right now, but you have an unlimited number of get out of jail free cards you can go hand out to people that have jobs that they hate, to work with people they can't stand for not enough money. You can get them away from there with this opportunity. You can help somebody make $500 a month. I've got people that want to make $500 a month to pay tuition for one kid. We help them do that. I've got people that want to make 5,000 a month part time. We help them do that. I've got agency owners that make 75,000 a month. So and see, once again, there's that word again. When somebody shows up here, I need to know what they want
Mm.
because what they want determines how I coach them. Make sense? And we're all different. Everybody's different. And a lot of people that fail here fail because they compare themselves where
Mm.
they are, what they're getting. They compare with somebody else, and they don't, even though that somebody else might have been here 2 years longer than them, or may have shown up here better prepared because nobody shows up fully prepared because this is not unlike anything most people have ever done. But some people show up better prepared because there's a learning curve here, and that learning curve depends on what has transpired in your life up to the time that you showed up here. Some people are mentally stronger because look, understand. Here's the good news. This business is 100% mental. We don't do anything that's hard physically. You can do this. I came here. I was 4 months short of being 67 years old when I got here.
Which I want to
67.
talk about too, by the way.
Do you have to talk about that?
Uh,
67? Come on now. So I try not to talk about it that much. But once again, where in the world in America can you go at 66 and say, "Look, I want to join your company and I want to be able to compete at the top levels." They call the drug dog out on you in corporate America. They know. But see, here I am, 11 and a half years. Actually, I'll be here 12 years this month. I got the third largest agency here. And it's look, it's not because of me. It's because, no, it's because I found a few good people that found a few good people that found a few good people. And I mean, look at what Jennifer was doing before she came here. Been teaching their kids school for what, 29,000, 28, 29,000 a year. She looks at that now as tips, you know. That-
Taxes.
That's in
Taxes.
the, yeah, exactly. So, but it's a place where you can come here. Think about this. Where can you go in the sales world, really? Which I don't even talk about sales much because I'm a builder. Okay, you can do two things. You can produce or you can build. You can do both, but most people pick one or the other. But I mean, where can you go at that age and have the same opportunity? See, it's a level starting. Everybody starts at the same place. And then here's why most people don't make it, Jeffrey, because we all start at the same place. But once that gun goes off, it's up to you.
Mm.
You get 40 acres and a mule. What you do with it is 100% up to you. And most people don't do much with their 40 acres and a mule because it's hard. I got to lead with a bad phone number on it. I got somebody no-showed me, and so people quit. Most people are not mentally strong enough. And the sad thing is, see, stuff like this that you're doing today, this is going to help maybe one or two or three of your people stick around for another week or another month. See, because my goal for people is to stick around long enough to get strong enough to make it here.
Mm.
Because you got to grow. You got to grow you.
So that actually transitions perfectly into the kind of the next thing that I wanted to hear your perspective on, which is, and I completely agree. Like I actually just talked about this on Monday about how this business exposes you,
Hmm.
and you either figure out a way to love the exposure and be excited by it and how it's going to force you to change, or you quit because you're too uncomfortable with it, and the it just makes you feel too weird about yourself. You don't want to think about that.
What they
So
do is they either crystallize or they crumble.
right, right. So what, how, what do you think is like, how does your mindset need to grow to be able to have sustained success here?
Well, this thing is 100% mindset. Seriously. How do you process things that come into your brain? Whether it's something you see, something you hear, something you touch, something, we got five senses, okay? But once that comes into your brain, it's processed. And there are people, you can look at the sky and say the sky's blue, and somebody say, dude, the sky's green. Everybody's different. But you have to go from, because understand this, most people come here, Jeffrey, from a job mentality. See, because think how most people arrive here. As a kid, your parents tell you what to do. Then your teachers tell you what to do. Your coaches tell you what to do. Your professors tell you what to do. Then your bosses tell you what to do. You come here and nobody tells you what to do. You're the boss. Understand this. Every single person on this call is the CEO of their agency right now, today. You're the CEO. If your agency is successful, it's going to be because of you and your people. If it fails, it's going to be because of you. And most people, once again, you have to change. When I say change, I'm talking about between the ears. You have to change your perspective, your paradigm, how you process things, okay? When you have, for example, you have an appointment set and you're there, maybe it's a Zoom appointment, you're there and they no show. How do you process that? Okay. Well, a lot of people come here, they get one no show and they go jump off a bridge. That makes no sense to me, but that's how weak-minded people are. So this is why you'll hear people in Symmetry encourage you to read because you got to grow between your ears. How do you do that? There's four ways, I think. Okay. Number one, you read. Before I got in the insurance business, I'm telling you, I read Sports Illustrated and Sports Page. That was it, 100%. But I noticed when I got in the insurance business, I noticed that the leaders were readers. And so I started reading, not self-help. So I don't like self-help books, okay? What I like are biographies because biographies tell me every single successful person in the history of the world struggled before they became successful. Every one of them. So that made it easier for me to deal with struggle. Okay. But reading is one of the best ways to grow your mindset. Secondly, here, if you're going to grow, you have to associate and you have to associate with the right people. See, once again, think where people came from. The people that they were associating with before they showed up at Symmetry were about like them, lived in about the same kind of house, drove about the same kind of car, did about the same kind of things every week, played Pokino every Thursday, that sort of thing. Okay. Well, you come here and you get to associate with successful people. And see, success has its own language. You have to learn that language, and you learn that language by hanging around successful people. And the cool thing about Symmetry is there's no secrets here. We will tell you every single thing we do every day. And if you want to do some of those things, have at it. Okay. But you got to associate with the right people. You got to learn the language. The third thing you have to do to grow yourself, you got to tend stuff like this call. See, every choice, here's another law. Every choice has a consequence. Every choice, good or bad. Some people chose to get on this call today. Some people chose, Jeffrey, to not get on this call today. Okay. Each one of those choices is going to have a consequence. But you attend stuff. Now look, there's 10,000 things you can attend here, okay? I'm not a big fan of that. You pick the stuff that's going to help you, but you get on to get it because this is the kind of stuff that you get on to learn what you need to learn in order to win here. So that's the third thing. And the fourth thing is the hardest for most people. You got to struggle. You're going to grow, you got to struggle. Look, change brings pain. I don't care what you're trying to lose weight, painful. You're trying to quit smoking, painful. You're trying to learn this business, trying to grow yourself into a bigger person, painful. And the reason you want to the reason you want to grow yourself into a stronger person mentally is so that other people can plug into your strength while they're building theirs. See, you're not old enough probably to remember old Sears Die Hard commercial. They had a Sears Die Hard in the middle of a blizzard, and they got about 20 cars hooked up to jumper cables, and they start all 20 of them off that one battery. Well, it's the same thing here. See, when you plugged into Jennifer, she had to be strong enough to handle that. Okay, or whoever you plugged into, maybe one of the four or five
Lord knows she had to be strong enough to handle that for
Tims.
sure.
She got about 18 Tims on her team. You may be plugged into one of them, but you see what I'm saying? But other people say, I've got to be strong enough because people that are going to come to me that I recruit are going to be weaker than me. The best thing I have for them is my strength. And I'm gonna use my strength to keep them alive long enough for them to build their strength, the ones that make it. All right. And so struggle grows you. Struggle is your friend. But a lot of people don't like struggle. They don't like change at all. But you can't look, if you could accept this, we have what? We have 21 people on the call. So between me and you, we've got 18 people other than me and you and Jennifer, okay? Every one of y'all came from a different place. Every one of y'all came with a different background, different strengths, different weaknesses. But there are certain things you have to learn here in order to win here. Okay. And one of them is that you have to get stronger between the ears. You have to, so other people can plug into you. And the stronger you get between the ears, I call that a bigger person. It's a bigger person you become. And see, big people, Jeffrey, can attract big people. Little people can't. So if
Hmm.
you look at a leadership
Can you say
scale
that
from
again?
1 to 10,
I
yeah,
think we need to hammer
little
that one
people
home.
little people cannot attract big people. Big people attract big people. So for example, if you come here as a leader on a scale of 1 to 10, you come here as a 4. Maybe you've never been in a leadership position. Okay. You come here as a 4. You cannot attract and keep an 8 because the 8 will sniff you out in a heartbeat. Okay. Also, all you can recruit are threes, twos, and ones. So you got to grow yourself.
Hmm.
John Maxwell said that. He said, if you're a 6 and you work your butt off and you become a 7, ain't nobody paying to watch you. He said, but if you're a 6 and you work your way into an 8 or a 9, people will pay to watch you. That's what we do. And how do you do it? You read, you associate, you attend, and you struggle. Struggle makes you stronger. See, struggle, you have something. Look, and initially, here's what a struggle might be. I got a lead with a bad phone number. I'm going to go home and I'm going to lock the doors and get into bed and pull the covers over my head and hope it goes away. This is how a lot of people deal with stuff. Okay. But see, if you have a struggle and you get through, have you ever done something that you did not want to do it? You weren't looking forward to it. No, 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 I don't want it. You wound up doing it anyway. How'd you feel after you did it? You felt great. See, because you did something that you did not want to do. That grew you. And see, every time you get knocked down and you get up, you're stronger when you get up. That prepares you for the next time you get knocked down. You're going to get up a little quicker. And if you keep doing that, you're going to get to the point where you can't be knocked down. That's all that's happened to the people here that have built big agencies. We didn't stay down long. We get now look, doesn't mean somebody big doesn't get knocked down. They just get up so fast you never see them go down. If that makes sense, okay?
Yeah.
But it's all about you working on you. Now the problem that we have, and I put most of this on the manager, okay? The leader. There's two things you can work on here. You can work on stuff or you can work on self. Most people have their people working on stuff, Jeffrey,
Mhm. Yep.
when what they need to be working on is self. Because you got to grow you. Stuff's not going to matter when you get your ox in the ditch. Okay, that ditch does not care how much you know. You're not getting the ox out of the ditch until what you want gets that ox out of the ditch. Your why gets that ox out of the ditch, if that makes sense. Okay, and so, but we tend to just fill people up with how. Have you been here long enough to realize how much how there is here? It's a bunch. It's a bunch. You can
A
go in
lot.
Summit. You can go in Summit and you can wander around for 40 years. You're never going to learn everything. So don't even try. Okay. What you need to know about yourself is, do I like people? Do I like helping people? Do people like me? And am I strong enough to handle other people's problems for them, with them, until they can handle themselves? That's all it takes to win here. But it's not about what you know. It's about what you want. I don't even remember what your question was, but
It was
maybe I
all
can.
mindset, right? So with the
It's
question was
all
around
mindset.
mindset.
It's
So you
100%
actually
mindset.
hit the
It
nail
is.
on the head.
I mean, so you understand something? Look, I heard some. I think I read this long, long, long time ago about mindset. Two salespeople were sent somewhere, some small country like in Africa somewhere. Okay, some small part of it. They were shoe salesmen. First guy called back. He was there 2 days. He called back. He said, "Hey, I'm coming back home. Ain't nobody here wears shoes." The second guy called and said, "Hey, send me everything you got. Nobody here wears shoes." Mindset, it's perspective, it's your
Yeah.
paradigm. It's how you look at things. And see, here's what I know. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Mm.
Because used to think about this, and this may apply to some of y'all. There was a time in me and Sandy's life where a crisis was whether or not we paid our Cablevision bill or we paid this other bill.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, that was a major, 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 major decision. We don't have those kind of conversations anymore. See, because we outgrew them. What Symmetry did for us is it let us out earn our spending in a big way. I mean, it's just stupid what people can make here. And I'm talking early on.
Yeah.
You know,
Production, 3 months.
go and be profitable your first month in business and stay profitable and use carrier money to build your agency with. This is the silliest thing in the world. It's like monopoly.
It's true. It's true. I think that I definitely can do more to make sure that, everyone here, myself included, is focused on self over stuff. But one thing that I make sure to tell everyone, and probably everyone can probably nod their head. I kind of talk about before they even come on board, and I say, honestly, you shouldn't come here if you can't sort of agree to these things. And I call them like the three non-negotiables. And it's you got to be at team meetings, you have to be at conference, and you have to give yourself at least 24 months,
Yeah.
right?
And hey, with the understanding that most people can't do that.
Right.
They say they can. Here, look, here's what I tell people. I said, let me give you a little pop quiz that was going to determine whether or not you can make it here. Number one, can you work with people? And they all say yeah. Number two, can you make yourself work? See, if you can do those two things, you win here. Now, most people will answer yes to most of them, but then that's before they got punched in the throat, here one time. Got knocked down, had a no-show. Oh my God, I'm going to jump off a bridge. That they go through, you're going to go through stuff like that on your way to becoming strong enough to where you can't get knocked down. And that's a glorious day. I'm telling you, it's a glorious day. But just accept the fact. I've seen people quit, Jeffrey, because they recruited somebody and that person quit. So they just
Right.
quit. Well, look, this, to me, once again, paradigm. This is good news to me. Only the strong win here. I'm talking about mentally strong. If you can
Hmm.
deal with a bunch of people, you win here. If people like you, you like people, you like helping people, you can't fail here because you got people. Look, you got people like Jennifer as a resource for whatever in the world you encounter, whatever you go through, whatever pops up, it's happened to her. But most people don't take advantage of that. They think this is too hard and they quit. But it's a good look. Here's why I don't care. I don't care at all if somebody quits. I didn't tell them to quit. I didn't make them quit. They chose to quit. Now, when they quit, look, we have what I call a money buffet. Okay, we're in an $8 to $9 trillion industry. You can make as much money as you're willing to work for here. Here's the way insurance carriers work. Okay, you send them no business, they send you no money. You send them a little business, they send you a little money. You send them a lot of business, they send you a lot of money. So if you tell me I'm not making any money, send them some business. Very simple. But think about this. If you quit, you have to take your hands with you. They come out of our money buffet. The money buffet is still the same size, but it's for those people who are strong enough to stick around, learn what they're doing, learn how to deal with people, work on your people skills. This is what really saved me early on. When everybody else was working on their sales skills, I worked on my people skills. Jennifer knows this. I don't know if she wants me to tell y'all, but I've been here 12 years this month, next month, 12 years next month. I've written 10 apps, Jeffrey. You think I ain't a writer? I'm a writer. 10 apps. I wrote six my first month, December of 2013. I wrote six apps because I want to know how the leads worked. I want to know how the applications worked, how underwriting worked, how the carriers worked. I wrote six apps, and I've written four since then. Uh, I wrote one, two, three DFLs on my kids, and I wrote an app on Sandy's sister, but I made her come to my house to get it done. I wasn't going to travel for an app. So I'm at 10. Last year it was pretty symmetrical last year because that's 10 apps, 10 years. Now it's 11 years, so it's not as symmetrical. Maybe somebody will call me today they want an app. Maybe.
I'll give you a call.
No, I'll get Tracy to come over and write it. 'Cause I don't even have. They talk about funnel. Funnel. I couldn't find a funnel if you paid me. I don't know what a funnel is. But see, once again, here's what I do, and this is what I'm gonna spend some time teaching you this. Okay, I'm gonna get you working on your strengths and outsourcing your weaknesses. That's what I do. My strengths are on the people side of my business, so I spend 100%. Listen to me, 100% on the people side of my business. I've got my son, who's my whatever he calls himself, okay, operator or something, something. I'm not sure what it is, but he deals with all the stuff that doesn't involve people, like contracts and training and all that kind of stuff. Okay, I don't go over there at all because look, over there is pennies, people is dollars. The generational wealth is on the people side of your business. That's why I encourage people to build. You don't have to build. You don't have to. I think you're silly if you don't build, okay? If you choose to do all the work yourself, I think that's silly. But you can do that. Symmetry will let you do it, and they won't ask you ever to do more than you want to do. That's pretty cool. No minimums, no quotas. You can't go backwards on your contract. Once you get promoted up you can go on a Disney cruise every week if you want, and it's still not going to affect your contract. So, there's just nothing like this thing from a freedom standpoint. But those people who want enough, Jeffrey, get a bunch.
Yep. So I think there's a lot of people on this call, Danny, that want a bunch, right? At least
Okay.
from,
There's
I
a
mean,
bunch waiting for you.
there's a bunch waiting for them, and I've talked to a lot of people who say they want a bunch, but to your point, the people who showed up here, there's
Yeah.
that, that's a sign, right? And almost all of them, outside of, basically like David. maybe Jacob, pretty much everyone else that's on this call is like fresh to writing
Yeah.
applications for the first time.
Good.
What's the biggest, what do you feel like separates good from great from people that come in and kind of do the right things, right? They're coming in doing the right things. What separates good from great?
Let me tell you what the winners do, okay? Because here's my job, and this is becoming your job, okay? Is to identify players. Because I'm a coach. I'm nothing more, nothing less. I'm a coach. I was raised in athletics. Everything I know I learned in athletics. You don't practice, you don't play, you don't win every game. They don't call the season off when you lose a game. You got to be coachable. Team chemistry is incredibly important. All of those things work here. And so my first job is to identify players. And the cool thing about that is players identify themselves. See, players show up early, stay late. They come to every practice. They're coachable. They seek out leadership. Okay. They self-study. They don't complain. They don't whine. And so these people stick out like a sore thumb. So it's not hard to identify players. But the hard part for people trying to become leaders, see, those are the only people that I give any time to. And it's not from a bad place. It's because I've got the same amount of time you have every day. Okay. I have to give my time to the right people, the people that my coaching is going to resonate with them. So I think the number one skill that somebody can have is coachability. Coachability, because look, you only need coachability and likability and stickability. It's only abilities you need here. Okay, there's only three of them. So if I find somebody who's coachable, somebody that asks the right questions, see, they don't ask, I have to get on another huddle. See, winners don't ask those questions. They ask, what do I need to be doing next? Can you recommend a book that you think would help me where I am right now? That sort of thing. So once again, you're just paying attention, okay? The mistake a lot of people make is they try to make somebody into something. I don't do that. See, look, we didn't make Jennifer Gaines. We found Jennifer Gaines.
Mm-hmm.
All the good people are found. Just don't think you're going to take. How do I say that? People try to make croissants out of Play-Doh. It ain't going to work. Okay, it is not going to work. I don't care how many times you try. It's not going to work. And so we look for good people, and those good people identify themselves as players, and then we help develop those players into leaders, and we build our agencies with those leaders. So the more leaders you develop, the bigger your agency is going to be. But see, you can't get big leaders until you are a big person. That's why you got to be working on you every day. And the winners, the people that make it here, do that. You'll have somebody come here because everybody. I learned this in athletics. Everybody can talk a good game. Everybody, watch my smoke, coach. I'm gonna be the best you've ever seen. But then they can't come to the business overview, the corporate overview.
Yeah.
They can't get on this call, but they're going to take over the world. No, no, you're not. They've been in pre-license for 8 months. No, you're not a player. You are not a player. I don't care how you want to look at it. But see, we spend so much time, a lot of people do spend so much time trying to change other people. No, you can't change other people. Okay, you change yourself. That's what you do. And you'll attract better people when you become a better person.
Hence why when you win, it's because of your team. When you lose,
Oh,
it's because of you.
absolutely. Absolutely. See, leaders take none of the credit and all the blame. See, if somebody quits my team, I take no credit for that, period, because I do my part. But if somebody wins here, I take none of that credit because they did all the work. All I do is I just try to keep people between the ditches and try to help them grow between the ears. That's all I do.
Hmm.
Because once again, it's a communication business. It's a transfer of knowledge business. That I know stuff, for example, that Jennifer Gaines needed to know. And
Yeah,
the only way she could find out what that stuff was is she and I had to communicate.
absolutely.
Wasn't easy with her now. I had to sit here and look at all that hair. Good Lord. And try to teach her something at the same time. It wasn't easy. It
Right.
wasn't easy.
And I touched on this earlier. Sorry to bring age back up into the equation here. Um, you came here. You started doing this business in your mid to late 60s. Yeah, at
Yes.
Symmetry.
Yes.
You previously prior to that you were at Primerica for a little
I
while.
was
Is
with
that correct?
Primerica 21 years.
Right, Primerica
That's a
for
long
21
time. You
years.
know one thing about them? That's a long time to be at Primerica. That's like 120 years in dog years.
It's a long time. And then you came
Yeah,
here to Symmetry and started from scratch, correct?
correct. Came here by myself, just like
So,
y'all.
yep. So I think, you know, our team is very diverse. I think from background, from age,
Good,
from
good.
everything, right? And I think that there's something inspiring about that. And you
Mhm.
talked a little bit about it before. You said, where else can you go? 67 years old, and
Mhm.
go build something and do something like this.
Sure.
Can you talk about just like what went into that mindset of saying, I'm going to come at 67 years old and I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to build something amazing. Like what went into that, and what were the first 2 3 years of that experience like for you?
Well, I decided to build for a couple of reasons. And I can't see how old everybody is on this call, but you're going to get to a point in your life where no matter what you do, Jennifer's seen this in play in our house, okay? No matter what you do, you won't help, okay? Sandy still says things like, "Can you change that light bulb?" No, I can't. No, I can't. If it involves a ladder, no, ladder's going to win. Floor's going to win, okay? So no. So I knew it just totally made sense that you're going to make more money, way more money, if you build an agency. See, we didn't have ownership when I showed up. Okay. We only had ownership probably for 7, 8 years. I've been here almost 12 now. Okay. But I wanted, once again, see, you're going to hear that word a lot in me. It came down to what I wanted. All right. I wanted to play big. That's what
Mm.
I wanted. And I can't play big as a personal producer. I can't. Because if I've got no people and you've got 20 agents, you're going to beat me every month. So I wanted to play big. Now, when I got here, this is an interesting thing. It's a good question. Nobody hardly was building because see, nobody in the insurance industry. I had never until I saw mortgage protection. I had been with Primerica 21 years. I was 59 years old. I knew everything about what New York Life sold, all their products, and we were in the replacement business, okay? I knew what Prudential had, State Farm, all that stuff. I had no earthly idea that there was a thing in the insurance industry called a lead. Not a clue. When I went to this meeting and I rode with a guy to Raleigh, North Carolina, and they talked about leads, I thought my brain was going to explode. They it was so foreign to me that people would actually invite an insurance person into their home. Totally foreign. I mean, in Primerica, I was 21 years. I would go and look, I'd go in a Circle K or Stop and Rob, whatever y'all call them, and I'd go swipe business cards out of the fishbowl by the cash register. You know, they're trying to win a Almond Joy or something, Almond Joy or something. I'm taking a card now. I got a name and a number to call.
How
See, that
exciting.
was that was my lead, a business card that I had to swipe when the guy wasn't watching, you know. And so I don't think that's illegal, to tell you the truth. Okay, I hope not.
I think that's fine.
So so they put that card in that fishbowl so they could win something. I had a prize for them. Okay, they'd come to work with me at Primerica. That's the prize I had. But when I saw leads, I'm thinking this is ridiculous. This is going to be like just shooting fish in a barrel. But I started recruiting immediately because I wanted help. It does not take a rocket scientist to know that 10 people can write more business than one person. That's what I wanted. And
Hmm.
so what I've done since day one is I spend 100% of my time on the people side of my business. I want to grow my agents. I had 575 agents last month that wrote business. I want to get to 1,000. I want to see if I can handle 1,000. But see, here's the thing. If I want to get 1,000 agents, I've got to get bigger mentally.
Mm.
So I still work on me every day because I got to get to where I can handle 1,000. But I think that'd be a pretty cool number. So that's why. And once again, people say, "Well, I want to learn everything before I start building." Well, that's silly. First of all, you're never going to learn everything. And thirdly, you know where you learn most of your leadership from? Your
Teaching.
people. Your people. Your people. See, in athletics, the coach doesn't make the players make the coach.
Mm.
Same thing here. You want to grow your leadership skills, go get more people. They'll teach them to you.
It's really good. And so, like, on that note, I guess, You started here, you started building from scratch, you started
Yeah.
building right away. You wrote 6 apps in your first month, which is really good for your first month, by the way. And so how would you say that your role has evolved from selling to mentoring to running a multi-million dollar agency? How what
Yeah.
have what have been the
It,
big things that have changed for you?
I just got bigger. I grew myself bigger so I could handle. See, look, you're on a journey. You're trying to get where Jennifer is. Jennifer can help you. It astonishes me how many people ask for directions from people that have never been where you're trying to get to. You know, they'll just stop on the street and ask some Yahoo how to get somewhere. They don't know if they've even been there before or not, you know. Well, if you want to be an AO, you can find out how to become an agency owner by talking to agency owners, listening to agency owners. Well, I got to 130. I'm an equity partner. I was on the advisory board. I've made this journey. So my job now is to help other people avoid some of the potholes. Some people are not going to avoid all of them. You can tell them that stove's hot. They're still going to touch it themselves to see if it's true. But that's my job is to make Jennifer's journey easier than my journey was. Make sense?
Yep.
Our job, look, the owners just cut a swath for us. You know, we just need to follow where they came from and where they got to. And then we help other people get there. You know, that's what we do. We help other people become. We get paid overrides, for example, for helping people become successful. We don't get paid anything to help people fail. So everybody, see if your upline says, I think you ought to see if this will work for you. You ought to try it. Okay? They have a vested interest in your success, not your failure.
Yep.
But look, it's a learning thing. And one thing I would encourage all you people to do, all you people to not do, how about that? Don't look around. Don't compare. Okay, just compete. Don't compare. Somebody may get off to a faster start than you. Doesn't matter.
Mm.
Doesn't matter. What matters is your race. Your race. Okay. You work on you. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. It makes no difference whatsoever. Some people get so caught up in comparing to what somebody else is doing that it just paralyzes them. I don't care. Look, I spend zero time thinking about, wondering about, figuring out what Marshall's doing. Look, Marshall found this is probably the key point of the call. Marshall found what worked for Marshall. Doesn't mean it's going to work for Danny. Okay. Edward found what worked for Edward. Doesn't mean it's going to work for Danny. Danny found what worked for Danny, and that's all Danny does. Okay. I don't
That's
do what
all Danny does.
I
I
do
love
what
that.
Danny does. Y'all have to find, look, how I run my business may not work for Jennifer. You have to find, this is the journey you're on right now. You, Jeffrey, you're finding out what works for you. And once you find out what works for you, do just that. I talk to so many people every week that are doing things that they think work for them, and then I pull out, I show them their numbers. That's how you know if it's working for you. You look at your numbers, and I walk people through numbers. I got a stack over here of people. A lot of them are outside my agency. I make them send me their numbers, and they're going to tell me how this is working. Man, I do this, I do this. I know, but look, your numbers. I've got 12 months of your numbers. They haven't grown. How many years is it going to take for them to for them to grow? If you're doing what's working for you, shouldn't they be growing? That's common sense stuff to me. Okay. And so, but this is part of what I do now is I show people that what you're doing is not working for you. What do you think we could tweak? Because you can't look if you're doing something that's not working for you and your numbers reflect that, doing more of that is not going to make your numbers start working. You have to work for you. Find out what works for you. Some people it's cold market, some people it's warm market, some people it's this, some people it's that. Some it's ZipRecruiter, some it's Indeed. But
Yep.
you got to find what you, and don't wait 2 years to realize that something's not working for you. Because I'm telling you, you can go from zero to hero in a heartbeat here. Or like Jennifer, go to from zero to shero.
Yeah, I mean, you can struggle is great and all, but if you just sit in the struggle and then don't try to do anything to get yourself out of it,
Exactly.
then it's
No,
pointless.
you'll drown in the struggle.
Yeah.
They got people just, and there's a lot of people like that. They just marinate in their misery. It's not good for your business. And it's
And
not
li
going to attract people. You have to see if you're going to attract people to your business, you got to be attractive. I don't mean looks. I mean you got to look like you're going somewhere. You understand if you look like you're going somewhere, somebody's going to follow you. They don't even know. They don't even have to know where you're going. All they know is that they're not going anywhere. I'm gonna go. This guy looks like he's going somewhere. I'm gonna go.
they're walking with purpose.
That's right. Exactly right.
So there's obviously gonna be struggle right? There's going to be like,
Oh,
there's going to be
struggle is your
misery in this
friend. Don't,
business.
hey, that's where you grow the most when you struggle.
100%. So what, and everyone on this call, especially because so many of them are new, which means that they haven't even encountered their first struggle here yet
Sure.
and the misery that they are 100% going to experience while working in this business. And that is the one I feel like beautiful common thread between anyone in this company, whether they're brand new and have made $0 or whether they're Danny Young and equity partner and a 130 direct to Symmetry. What what has kept you in the game when times were toughest for you?
Because I never, ever lost sight of what was waiting for me if I persevered, if I kept pedaling. You go up there where Jennifer lives, they have blizzards and stuff. The only time you're going to die in a blizzard is when you stop. You keep moving, you're going to survive. And you got to keep moving here. You get a little bit better. That's the goal, is to be better tomorrow than you are today. That's all. That ain't asking too much. And just grab hold of somebody that's going and don't let go. Y'all need to grab hold to Jeffrey. He's going. And what he would love is for every one of y'all to go with him. Every one of y'all won't go with him. That's going to be your choice, not Jeffrey's choice. Okay. He wants all of y'all to win. But grab hold of somebody that's going and just go. And don't worry about, man, I had I had three appointments today. I only had one of them. Well, hey, can you change that? No. Okay. Let's don't worry about what happened. Let's worry about where you're going. Because I'm telling you, look at this company. This company went from zero to 250 million in 15 years. They're going to go to a billion and 3 billion and 5 billion. You need to be here when the good stuff shows up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the only way you're going to be here is if you work on you every day, you get better every day, a little bit incremental. You're going to attract people because you go out and you find two of the right kind of people, you can build a dynasty here. Because a lot of my agency, Jeffrey, came from me recruiting people through my people. I get who
Right.
I want through who I have. Because here's what I know: good people know good people. I need to meet those good people. If I recruit a good person, I'm not going to just throw them up in the summit and teach them how to sell every day. I want to get in their market and I want to get them some good people that they know, that trust them, that'll listen to us, and it just never stops. Never stops.
There's something about, I think, too, now that we're talking about this a little bit. I mean, like, Jennifer's going places. I've latched on to Jennifer. You know,
Right?
Dave Kellebrew's come under me. He's latched on to me. Dave's someone to latch on to too. He's got people latching on to him. It feels like there's almost more momentum pulling when you've got all those people
Absolutely.
latched on to each other.
Look, there's locomotives and there's rail cars. Rail cars can't move themselves. They need a locomotive to hook up to them and pull. But here's the thing about locomotives. They can only pull so many rail cars. If you want to pull more than that, you got to hook a locomotive to a locomotive. And you get several and that's what I look for. I'm out there trying to find locomotives because that's who moves everything.
Mm. So as we're coming up in our last 10 minutes, Danny, because I want to make sure we don't take up too much of your time. But
Jennifer told me it's going to be 4 hours.
I mean, I could sit here for 4 hours and listen to you. So, you know,
Sad thing is I could talk for 4
if you
hours.
if you keep up the alliteration and the isms,
Wait,
I could sit here all
big
day.
big word alert. Big word alert.
Yeah.
I'm in Louisiana.
So
Little
Danny, if you were in my shoes, what would you do this month to
Oh,
move our team forward the
I know
fastest?
exactly what I do. Here's the first thing I would do. This is going to sound so elementary. I would take a piece of paper and I'd draw a circle in the middle of it, and on the back I would write Jeffrey. I mean, in the circle I'd write Jeffrey. Then I'd draw a line out and another circle, and I'd put somebody direct to you. I'd put their name in there.
David.
All right, David. Now, if David has someone, I draw a line from his circle, draw another circle. I want you, look, draw your agency, okay? And everybody, let me give you another law, okay? Look, here's some people. You don't know them.
Hmm.
But see, here's the problem with their agency. They have people, all these people are direct to them. Their people don't have any people. And the
Mm.
only thing, this is like the first commandment here. The only thing that keeps people here, Jeffrey, is having somebody. So when you draw your agency, everybody that doesn't have somebody is subject to quit today. See, I didn't want that to happen. I learned this a long time ago. I didn't want them to quit. So if they're not going to quit, I've got to help them get somebody. I don't get somebody and give it to them. I want to get somebody, and the easiest way to get them somebody day one is in their warm market. So I talked to them about building. Do you want to build? They want to build after I talk to them about building. It makes sense. It's an IQ test, okay? It makes sense to build. When they say they want to build, I ask them, let's talk, take a few minutes and talk about some of the people that you know that you'd like to have in your business, and not let them think. And then we send them that little text that I have with the two little short 3-minute videos on it. Send those out because I don't want my new people talking to their friends and family because they don't know anything. And somebody's going to tell them you sound stupid. I don't want that to happen. So, but they can text. They can send a text, and the text doesn't say, "Hey, brother-in-law, come work with me." It asks the brother-in-law to watch two short videos and see if he knows someone who might want to come work with us part-time, and send that out. And somebody's going to respond back saying, "I'd like to know more." And then we set up a three-way call with the my guy, the brother-in-law, and me. And the majority of people I do, Jennifer's been on three-way calls with me. The majority of people that I talk to on a three-way call come here and try. But look, here's what I want you to do. You draw your agency. I want you to know every day. I did this when I got into Primerica. I was there about a year and a half. I started one day. I just drew it because I wanted to see what I had. I want to see what I got up every day, and I went to war with. Okay, this is what I've got to play with today. And I realized every day that I don't have enough by looking at it. Okay, and it's going to be fluid. One person, David may have somebody. You may have to just they aliens came and got them. We don't know where they went. Okay, their house isn't there anymore. Their car's not there anymore. They're gone. Okay, so it's going to be fluid. You got to add people, but you need to know every day what you have to work with. And if you want to get bigger, you can take every circle and draw a line in a circle and think about if you filled up all these circles with people, look what your agency would look like then. So that's what I would do. I would recommend starting with you. Draw your agency so that you know what you have. You get up every day, you know what you have to go to war with.
Hmm.
And if you got somebody, if David's got somebody that doesn't have anybody, we need to put a little focus on getting that person somebody so they'll stay. That's why just
I mean,
you want to keep them here. Look, help them get through the day because tomorrow may be the day they win.
yep. I mean, that's such a good point because I mean, listen, I mean, Jennifer, you ever thought about quitting here before? You ever had a day where you're like, I want to quit?
Actually, like truthfully, I haven't.
That's
I
amazing.
I really haven't,
But
and
you,
it
let me tell you why. Because when she started, she was surrounded by friends and family that were here.
True. True. Because I can say that I have.
Oh yeah,
Danny may
and
have had a day where he has,
majority of people have.
right? And but I will say, like Dave, I mentioned Dave. Dave's amazing. He's been here with me almost as long as I have. On those days where I've thought about just want to get out of here, I'm like I can't. I'm not going to do it. I'm not.
Yeah,
No, like
it's a test.
Dave's my guy.
That's right.
I'm not leaving
That's right.
here. And there's something to be said about that. It gives you another reason to believe.
You know why I like David? He's one of the few people I can pronounce his name on Sunday night. So don't let him leave for God's sake, okay? Goodness gracious.
Exactly right. Exactly right. What for people who are, I know there are people in here who are starting to get into reading for the first time here. What do you think's a good recommendation?
I think the best two books for this business starting out, John Maxwell. See, look, I encourage people to read, but to read authors that resonate with you. Just because you hear something on Wednesday call that says, there's a book that's 1,800 pages, The Art of War or something like that, doesn't mean it's for you. I can't read the Firewalker. Who's that? Anthony Robbins, is that his name? I can't read him because his voice just gives me a sharp pain behind my eye when I hear him talk. And I bought his book, his first book he wrote, and I tried to read it, and it was coming to my brain in his voice. I couldn't even read his book. But Maxwell, I can read. Maxwell talks simple. I'm simple. But he's got one of his first books, Jeffrey, is How to Develop the Leader Within You.
Hmm.
Awesome book to start out. And when you finish that book, you can get his second book was how to the leaders around you, how to develop the leaders around you. Outstanding book for this particular business.
Love that. I'm gonna be going to get the digital versions of those books later tonight.
Good. They're awesome.
Appreciate that. Gosh, any Any last kind of just thoughts from you, Danny, as we're sort of wrapping up here?
No, I'll tell you this though. You got what, like 18 people on the call? Kyle Kimbrell, when we got him, he called me one day. He'd been here about 3 months. He had three recruits. Okay. He called me after Tar had won a trip to Ireland, a carrier trip. Me and Sandy won the trip. We didn't go because Ireland to me sounded like, this is gonna sound silly to y'all. Ireland sounded like bad food, bad weather, walk around a castle. Okay, that didn't appeal to me. And so we didn't go. But Kimbrell called me and asked me if I'd do a three-way call with a friend of his. I said,
Hmm.
sure. Gets me on the phone with a guy in Portland, Oregon named Tony Capistrano. We get Capistrano. Capistrano called me the next day and said, would you do a call for me with a couple of friends of mine in Utah or Montana, one of them, Idaho, that's it. He got me on the phone the very next day with Darren Stubbs and Eric Hundred. I did three-way calls for 9 days while Tara was gone. When she came back, I had 18 contracts for her. 18. And I got 9 days. Look, all licensed, all knew each other from previous working things. A lot of them were in multi-level marketing years before and stuff like that, but they all knew each other. Those 18, the last 2 weeks, this is the first 2 weeks of June of 2016. The last 2 weeks of June, they did 56,000 in premium. In July, they did 157,000. And in August, they did 299,000. See, this is by getting a bunch of people in a short period of time. This is what can happen because people don't want to get left behind. Herd mentality kicks in. Okay, they're watching their teammates and all, and everybody gets caught up in the momentum. Okay, and
Hmm.
that's how promotions come quicker. That's how deposits come quicker. But Kimbrell built a $10 million agency in his fifth year, and it started with those 18 contracts. So you got 18 people on the call today. Ain't that something? Could be a coincidence if you believe in coincidences.
Yep. If I make sure that I stick it out till I figure it out, five,
But
four more
I would
years
just
from now.
encourage, yeah, I would encourage your people just to be thinking about people that they know that they would like to be in business with, and let us go get them for you.
Yep.
Make sense?
Absolutely. Makes a ton of sense. Well, I'm not known for being this prompt and on time, but it's quite literally exactly 5 p.m. Eastern on the dot. Um, uh, Jennifer, I
Hey,
saw you
I'm
unmuted.
central,
Any?
so I'm central, so it's only 4 p.m.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
But he
Jennifer, was there
probably
anything you
Danny,
has,
wanted to say?
Danny and Sandy probably have dinner reservations in like 15 minutes. So he's probably got to
no,
scoot. But
no. What is
anyway,
today? Wednesday? No. Look, we ate out Monday night, yesterday for lunch, and then last night. So
you're
we're gonna
well
stay
fed.
in. We staying in tonight.
That's awesome. Danny, thank you. Like this
My
is such
pleasure.
a treat always. And Jeff and everyone on this call, like this has been so much fun to see such a crew here. And the thing that I love about all of you on this call is how excited you are right now. And now is the time to like, let's go find more people so we can have more calls like this with Danny, with more people, build your teams and like it's going to be so much fun. That's why I don't want to quit ever. I'm like, this is hard.
Oh,
Sometimes it's really hard.
it's so
But
worth it. It's
then
unbelievable.
yeah, this happens and it's like, let's go. Anyway, so fun.
Yeah. I'm so appreciative, Danny, seriously. And
If you
uh,
don't look, if you don't have my cell number, get it from Jennifer, and you text me, call me, anything you need, I'm gonna help you get it. Okay.
thank you, Danny. Thank you, thank
All
you.
right.
And I know that this has made a massive impact on everyone who's on this call, on the building side, on the production side, helping them get off the
Yeah.
ground. Like
All
the
we do is help people. All
scale
we
of
do.
your impact is amazing, man. Seriously,
All
appreciate
right.
you.
I appreciate y'all. Let's go take over the world. Okay.
All right, let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you.